back on the grind another time, and as mentioned from my community posts, I wanted to get some stuff started again with the Chevelles. Some stuff that I can do at home, some interior stuff, maybe some stuff with the bumpers. Even though I don't have the car here, there's some interior pieces that I need to kind of clean up and fix and save. The more that I can kind of save these parts, the less money that I have to spend at the end, even though if I have to put the time in to kind of fix them, restore them, clean them up and all that. I always like to kind of use more OEM parts if I can and save them versus reproduction. I have no problem using reproduction parts, but you know, if you got them and they're salvageable, might as well keep them. I have the back side panel armrests for the back of the Chevelle. Now they're actually in really good shape. They're just got some cracks and one part is broken off in the back. The guy that I got them from said it's pretty common on those cars as they become fragile over time. I've already got one in repair right now, and I'm gonna start working on the other one here shortly. Let me just show you what I got going on right now with these armrests for the back of the car and how I'm restoring them, and then just go from there. This is one that I've already kind of started on, and I apologize for the lighting if it's not that great, but it's raining outside and I have to be under my carport here. So this goes where the back seat is in the back of the car. This would be the passenger side. So this would be exposed to the front. So like if you open the door and then lift the front of the seat up, you can kind of see that part. And then the ashtray goes right where my hand is. And then this area here kind of sits tucked back away out of sight between the rear quarter panel and the side of the seat, the backrest of the seat. So from my understanding, these kind of get fragile over time, and you know, people taking them in and out, whatnot, the seat going in and out, if you take the seat in and out, whatever, over time they just kind of just get brittle, break, whatever. So this one wasn't too bad. So it actually just had a crack right here, and then a small piece broken out of it, and then a long crack right here. So what I did is I used this blue sticky tape and I kind of just taped it all together, just kind of snug. Before I did that, I used actually some JB Weld. So I used JB Weld to kind of put it all together, and I used some JB Weld to kind of just lightly coat the cracked portion, so when they put together, the seams will kind of dry together. Then I put the tape on, and then I started the process of putting it back all together. So let me turn this around here real quick. I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to mess with the integrity of it at all, but let's see if you can guys see that. So if you can see what I did here, so I had a couple ideas on kind of how to put this together. So again, it had a small chunk here missing. Everything else was good. Oh, and a small chunk here also missing. So what I did is I filled the cracks in, and then I filled the parts that are missing up with epoxy, and that just kind of just filled up the holes up, and then put the cracks back together to give it its kind of integrity back. And what I did is on the cracked areas, I built up the epoxy. So instead of being like one thin coating on the top of it, I built it up so it would give it more of a thickness, and it would also stop it from cracking and basically hold up better. So, and the tape on the other side, any areas that needed to be filled in that was missing, will kind of just fill those voids and those spaces, and give it a nice kind of smooth-ish surface on the top, from the top side, that you can see. Kind of same thing here. Now this one was just a straight crack, so all I did was tape them together from the top, and then did the same process here. Just built up enough JB Weld on top and kind of just kept layering it, and then gave it some structural support on the side, and I think that should be good, y'all. And plus, nobody's arm is going to be resting on that, and in my car, inside my car, probably nobody will ever be really in the seat. So that's pretty much it, y'all, as far as restoring them. Everything else is pretty good. There's no other cracks or anything like that. Everything is good to go. So I mean, it has some wear and all that stuff, and you can definitely tell where that line is right here. That's where the seat went. And what I'm gonna do is, I already washed it and I used a non-scratch Scotch-Brite pad, and I used some Simple Green, kind of cleaned it really good, and use that non-scratch Scotch-Brite pad, and then I use some soap and water. When it's all dry and everything, use some rubbing alcohol, clean it really good, and I'm going to use some of this SCM interior paint. And what the SCM interior paint is a trim black paint that restores the color back to the original OEM GM. That's it for that one. So the other one that I have here is pretty much the same, however more broke than the other one. So at least the other one was still pretty much all intact with just some few areas that were missing. Now this one is kind of the real deal here. So what I'm gonna have to do is, so this piece actually was busted off. I actually found this in a box or somewhere laying in the car or something when I actually bought the car. It wasn't even attached to this at all. So luckily it was still there and I could save it. And this is where it goes. So just like that. And actually this one piece fills in everything. So it fits here, and then the only chunk that would be missing would be that spot right there. So what I'm gonna do is do the same process as I did for that one. I'll probably use some sandpaper, scuff both edges up, and then the inside here, and then I'm gonna put some epoxy or JB Weld on both of the cracked seamed areas, put them together, and then use that blue sticky tape again to kind of tape along the edges there. That way this will have an opportunity to kind of dry together. Now I'm gonna have to add some sort of structural support, probably, because if you're looking at it from the inside, and even if I were to put it in, or somebody were to kind of move around in the back seat, or me installing it or whatnot, even if I kind of built up the epoxy to give it a little bit more substance to hold, just having a little bit of pressure here on the edge could probably break it. So what I'm probably going to do is, now let me go over here, is I got my wire cutters and this here. So I use this for all kinds of stuff, y'all. So this is basically like aluminum galvanized, really thin metal that you get from Lowe's. I think it's actually part of some metal roofing. It came in like an 8-inch long thick sheet, and I've used this for a lot of things. I've used this for stuff on my LS swap, as far as covering my fuses that I made. I use it kind of just for structural support on some things. I mean, all kinds of stuff, man. What I think I'm gonna do is just kind of cut this to fit right here, and just bend it to fit this curve here, and then lay flat up here. So that way, when this is sitting on right here, then it'll have support from this piece of metal along the side here, and that'll give it a little bit more support. Let me go ahead and attack this, and I'll chime back in. Steps here. So what I did is shape this piece, and I'll show you how it fits here first, or here shortly. And then I scuffed up these pieces here so you can see how normally it's shiny. Scuffed it up with some sandpaper. I just took whatever I had. I think it's like 180 grit or something like that, and just kind of lightly just scuffed it up. So that way the JB Weld, if you guys never used this stuff before, it's basically an epoxy that hardens like plastic. And I've used it for a lot of different things, but just mix the two together and then apply it, and then just let it dry. It takes a little bit of time to dry. I usually just kind of let it sit for a day or two and not mess with it. That way it can fully harden. But all right, y'all, so here is kind of the final product, or for the most part, of me bracing the edge here. So that piece actually covered up everything that I needed to. So this end piece that had broke off, so I'm trying to be careful with it so I don't drop it and ruin it. But yeah, as you can see, I have it taped up and it lined up pretty good. I really didn't have to fill up any holes or gaps. I originally thought that the edge here was broken off, but that might have been how it came from the factory, because it didn't look broken off when I really inspected it. But it's not the prettiest looking thing, but it'll do for sure. So I shaped that to the contour of the bend, and I scuffed it up. As you can see, it's kind of roughed up around the edges here, if you guys can see that. As you can see, it's in there and looking flush, and that'll give it a little bit of reinforcement as well. Kind of similar, mimicking, you know, what we have here as well from the factory. So I scuffed it up, put epoxy, laid it pretty thick on the armrest itself, and then I put epoxy on the back side of that metal, and I stuck them together. And then what I did is I went back around and kind of reinforced it a little bit more so it'll stay. That's just me kind of being OCD. So I don't think it'll go anywhere. It should be pretty good after it dries up and it's all said and done. So I think that should be good to go, y'all. So I wanted to show you this one too while I was at it. This is the passenger side kick panel, and these are notorious, just like any other old school GM kick panels, for braking right here. So passenger side right here, right where the floor would be. This is the air vent for a non-AC car, and you pull that vent to let fresh air in, and the part right here that rides up the door jamb, right there is kind of where they break. Now, the reason why I got these from that guy on Craigslist, he was just gonna throw them away if he didn't sell them. I just bought them for like 20 bucks or something like that. Because mine that I have two on the driver's side that are good, and the one on the passenger is broke. I needed this one, and this one was cracked, but it wasn't fully broken off, so I thought I could repair it. So found these on Craigslist for really cheap, and I'm going to not use the fresh air vent anyway. What I'm going to do, and I think I spoke on this once before, is, or maybe not, is I'm gonna actually cut this out and not even use the functionality or anything of this air vent. What I'm actually going to do is, there's a company that makes a speaker that sits inside of that hole, and I think it's like what size is it? Maybe like a 6.5, and they build basically a speaker pod, insulated pod in there, and it sits in there just like the shape of this right here, and it's a speaker, and you can put that in there, and then you just cover it up with that or a screen or whatever you want to do, and you're good to go. So or they might have their own cover for it, I'm not sure, but anyways, so that's what I'm going to use. You'd be able to use the OEM kick panel, hide it, that way I don't have the regular style kick panel where it holds the speaker in there, and I don't have to have it bulging out to take up space. I can use this flat one, hide it in there, and be good to go. Or maybe I didn't even show you. So I did the same process of what I did with the other ones. Just put bent that little aluminum piece there, bent it to fit, and epoxied it, let it sit for a few days, and it's good to go. So anyways, that's that one. All right, y'all, I'm about to apply the third and hopefully final coat. But as you guys can see, if you guys can tell, apologize, man, it's dark. If it wasn't raining, I'd have this stuff out in the sun, but instead I'm under my awning out here, and a little bit dark. I don't have a lot of light, but I got this light here to kind of brighten things up. But as you can see, it's far better than what it was, and that's just two kind of light coats.
You know, still some imperfections in there. I'm not really worried about it. A lot of that you're not gonna see anyway. And that crack, you know, it's gonna be kind of tucked back in there. But like I said, not looking for perfection. Just trying to clean these bad boys up. All right, y'all, I moved it more in the light so you guys can kind of see. I don't want to leave it here for too long because it is sprinkling. And I don't want to get the wind to catch a drop of rain and then get it on here. But man, liking that. I think it looks really good, y'all.
Filming a lot of this stuff and a lot of the work as I was going along, and somehow either it didn't record or I deleted it on accident or something. I don't know. Sometimes this GoPro be tripping, but so now I am done and I'm just letting it dry, but I wanted to come show you and touch on some things that I was talking about earlier. Some of the stuff I talked about in the previous clips, but I kind of wanted to show you what I did and what I talked about that got deleted. So let me go ahead and get to this real quick. All right, y'all, so it's in the light so you guys can see it better. So I wasn't going for perfection or anything, and these are the original OG, 40 years old right here, man. Again, these are the side panels that sit along the rear quarter panel right below the quarter glass. You can see this line right here, wear and tear from where the seat was that you sit on, and then the back of the seat cushion and that you stick your back on would run along right here. So I was finding out that a lot of these break right here on the end that's closest to the backrest. On both sides they were broken. This one was completely broken off. That one was cracked, and I was able to kind of, no, excuse me, this one was cracked and missing some pieces, and then that one was completely broken off. So I had to do some patch jobs. So as I said, I'm not going for perfection or anything, and you can still see the areas where it got filled in and the cracks. Now, yes, I could have probably used some spot putty and, you know, smooth it out, sanded it down, and, you know, just kind of made it smooth. I still would have lost a lot of that texture, the original texture, but I probably could have made it look better. I've done it before, but I figured you're probably not gonna really be able to see it anyway, and for the most part, every other part of it is good. I mean, like this right here where the seat was sitting on, you're not gonna be able to see that when it's actually in the car. Just some things like that. So I just wanted to kind of clean it up, save the original as best as I could, and then put it in the car. Plus, if you guys can save money, or at least for me, if I can save a dime by making something look good that's original to the car, then that's what I'm gonna do. So, but it actually turned out really good, y'all. And all I did, if you saw my previous clips, I just laid tape, blue painter's tape on the top to kind of hold these in place. And I was missing, let me see if I can prop this up. I was missing a piece there, if you can see that little circle right there in between that crack. And I was also missing, let me make sure I set this down good. Ooh, see, almost dropped it, scraping it up. And then I was also missing this section here. So what the tape allowed it to do by sitting flush is when I put epoxy on the backside to kind of strengthen this crack up, it actually did the job by filling those areas in and give it some more rigidity as well, but also fill in those holes. So I'm happy with it, y'all. I mean, like I said, not going for perfection. This is not going to be, I mean, I'll probably show it in some shows, but it's not going to be a show car per se or anything like that. It's not gonna be a trailer crane. I'm gonna drive this thing, man. I drive all my cars. And then we have this one here. Let me see if I can pick this one up, put it in the light. So this one was totally broken off. What I did was the same process here. I started with some painter's tape and to hold it in place, and then I braced it, if you guys can see it, braced it in there with that aluminum metal, cut it to fit, bent it to fit, braced it with a hell of a lot of epoxy, let it sit for several days, and I think it turned out great. So, I mean, if you guys can see, hopefully, is it raining? Not really raining. So I'm gonna hold it in the light. But as you guys can see, it's way better than what it was before. I mean, it was faded. You could see the dirt and just age in between the textured areas. I mean, it has its wear and tear. It has its little scuffs and scrapes, but man, 40-year-old car. And I'm, like I said, this ain't gonna be a trailer car. I mean, I'll trailer it probably to some shows if I'm going a little far or out of state or something like that. But man, I just like saving stuff original to the car and then putting my own twist on it, you know, like I'm putting the GTO seats in it and everything. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Some things I like to keep and save, and some things, you know, I'll replace. And so I like to be able to ride in the car, you know, that's somewhat original, and kind of ride like they did, you know, back in the days, and kind of have, I like that kind of feeling, but I like some modernness too, you know, like I like, you know, upgraded suspension and, you know, stereo and things like that, you know, wheels and stuff like that. I mean, I think that's cool, but to ride like you did, like they did back in the days, that's what I really like, y'all. So if I can save as much of the original stuff as I can, and as you know, this car didn't come with, it came with a lot of stuff, but not a whole lot of stuff that I could use. And so this is one reason why I wanted to save these and also save a little bit of money. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to kind of show you guys that I didn't show you in previous clips. But man, it feels good to do some stuff on the Chevelle, even though the Chevelle's not here. So we're gonna keep at it, keep kind of doing some small things that I can do in the Chevelle. I'm going to actually take the bumpers in to get powder coated. I've been talking to a girl there who runs the whole thing, and we have some good ideas on that. So man, it's coming along, man. So plugging away. Got my jet ski out, so it's actually going to be nice here this in this next upcoming weekend. So I'm going to get that ready. I actually have, and not to do a side tangent or anything like that, I bought this off of eBay. This is actually a handle that sits back here like this, and then it helps assist you to get out of the water if you like fall in the water off the jet ski. And mine doesn't have that. So the this is basically a base model 94 Sea-Doo SP, and then they have the XP, then they have the SPX, and it goes all the way up. But this is actually a base model. It's a two-stroke, and it actually gets up though, man. This thing, I don't know, I think this thing is tops out at like, I don't know, close to 50 or something like that. Like if, you know, smooth water, one person on it, it'll probably hit about, you know, high 40s or something. But it was running, but it wasn't running actually really good, and good enough to kind of ride, but not good enough to like really kind of ride for a while and, you know, be safe on it or whatnot. So I actually rebuilt the carburetor in it. I, you know, did a compression test on it. It all checked out okay, and just some other odds and ends. I replaced the fuel lines and all that stuff. Just really cleaned it up. New spark plugs and a few other things. The seat was all messed up, so we recovered it. Not the best job, but did the job. This strap right here is the only thing that actually has on it to kind of get you up, to pull you out of the water. But you have to like literally, you know, be in the water and like pull yourself up and reach for the strap and have this strap pull you up out of the water, and it wasn't very convenient. So that's one reason why I ordered this, and I'll have to drill some holes in the side here and then get some bolts and screw them in, because they have some holes in there where you can screw in the bolts. But yeah, y'all, I mean, I painted this and This is a cover that covers that because this piece was all messed up. But yeah, y'all, I mean, I like it. I mean, it was running everything there with the trailer and everything. I think I bought it for like $1,500 or something like that, and that was a pretty good buy, especially with the trailer, man, because people are selling these trailers for like $1,000 or more depending. And then right now people are selling these for about, you know, a running one for $1,700. So and I like kind of like that old school Miami Vice look, man. So I don't know, I love the 80s stuff and 90s stuff, so I'm all about it, y'all. But yeah, y'all, this thing's a lot of fun. It's super lightweight, really bouncy, and it'll catch a wave like a mofo. So but anyways, not to go off a side tangent on that, but I'm trying to get that ready too, so we can take that out here pretty soon. So but yeah, y'all, anyways, that's pretty much it. I'm going to call it a day, and then I'm gonna get this video all edited for you guys and upload it so you guys can see it hopefully tonight. So but anyways, you guys know what to do, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, man, do all the good stuff. Stick with me, y'all. Trying to bring you as much content as I can, man. Ooh, this summer is gonna be great. Even though we're under this nastiness of this virus going around, man, we gotta make it the best we can. All right, deuces out.